Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Study Hall College Consulting meet and greet. We will allow for a few seconds to get everyone in on this Zoom call, but we just wanted to welcome you all, and we thank you all so much for coming to attend our event tonight so you can get to know myself and the rest of the Study Hall College Consulting team. So thank you all so much for joining, and we will get started. So for the agenda tonight, we wanted to introduce the team, talk about our mission, go into all of the services that we offer as a consulting group, what we bring to the table, so how we are different from other college essay review services out there. We'll also talk a little bit about our free blog that we have on our website, and also talk about our newsletter and social media. And if any of you had any questions, you can use the chat function on this Zoom call. So you can either privately message either myself, Sarah, or Nina, or you can stick a question into the main chat function in the call. And we'll also have a little Q&A portion at the end if anyone did have any questions that you wanted answered. And like we mentioned in all of the promotional materials, if you attend our session until the end, you will receive 10% off your next Study Hall College Consulting purchase. So we will have a form that you can complete at the end of the session in order to receive the 10% off. So a little bit about our mission. So we are by students for students. The three of us on this team, we all went through the whole entire college admissions process. So we are familiar with everything from the Common Application. All of us are UC Berkeley students or just recently graduated from UC Berkeley. So we are also very familiar with the UC application process as well. So definitely very, very familiar with writing essays, writing supplemental essays, as well as creating your resume and building your story throughout the college application process. So that's something that really makes us different because we are young students just having gone through the process, wanting to help and give back to other students because myself, I'm an out-of-state student from Maryland. Nina is a first-generation college student, and Sarah, she applied to a lot of different colleges, so we all bring something very different to the table. So going into introducing all of our team. Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel. A little bit about me. Like I said, I'm an out-of-state student, so I'm originally from around Baltimore, Maryland, and I went to college at UC Berkeley, and I just graduated in the class of 2020, where I double majored in cognitive science and legal studies. In college, I was super involved in residential life, so I was a senior resident assistant for 2 years working in UC Berkeley's dorms, and then I was also a normal resident assistant for 1 year. I also worked as a hiring and training coordinator in residential life, so I worked a lot to hire all of the RAs that work in the dorms and all the peer tutors that work in the dorms as well. So I've worked a lot with that whole hiring process, conducting interviews, screening candidates, reading their essays for those applications to get a job on campus. So definitely have a lot of experience with that. And then finally, I was also a campus ambassador, giving 90-minute public walking tours all around UC Berkeley's campus, sharing the story and history of the university. And finally, I was involved in the ASUC, which is the student government on campus. For colleges and the UCs that I applied to both UC Berkeley and UCLA and was accepted into both of these universities. And then about my high school self, I was also very, very involved in high school. I was super involved in student government, in numerous national honor societies, and I also had a really big passion for film and making videos. If any of you are here from YouTube, then you've seen that passion sort of develop over the past few years. So I was also the co-founder of a film club at my high school. And so outside of school, the big things that I did, I was the student member of my county's Board of Education. So I sat on the Board of Education and helped to pass bills and stuff like that as a high school student, which is what I wrote my Common Application essay about and what I wrote my UC main essays about. And I also volunteered with Special Olympics. So a lot of my college application essays revolved around that volunteering experience. And finally, like the film stuff that I've done, I've also entered film competitions in high school and won a lot of little local competitions. So I wrote about that on my college applications as well. And for internship and work experience in high school, I was an intern at NASA. So working there was really cool. And I wrote about that in my college application essays. And during my senior year summer, I was a congressional intern, and right now I am currently working full-time at a law firm. So post-grad, I have sort of continued along that same path of advocacy and giving back to the community. So that's a little bit about me, and I will pass it off to Sarah to introduce herself.
All right, awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah. Great to virtually meet you all over Zoom. So I am from Lafayette, California. So I'm from the Bay Area. I've been around here for quite a while. And I went to UC Berkeley, much like Rachel and Nina. And I just graduated, so I'm from the class of 2020. So I went to college pretty close to where I grew up, which is something that maybe you all will experience in the college application process, kind of looking at where you want to go. So definitely ask me about that experience. And so in college, I majored in architecture and I minored in Spanish language and literature. So I got a little bit of both spectrums, and it was really fun to kind of get two different subjects that were very different from one another, and take classes in both of those. And in college, I was involved in a bunch of different things. One of the main things that I was really dedicated to was outreach in the admissions process. And so just like Rachel said that she was, I was a campus ambassador, but I was also an ambassador for the College of Environmental Design, which is specifically what I was in when I went to Berkeley. So both of those roles were highly revolved around, talking to prospective students, welcoming them to the university, giving them tours, and things like that. So that was something that was really fun for me. And then I also got to be the virtual engagement coordinator for Berkeley, which meant that I actually put together virtual visits. So, all of you looking for colleges right now might be going through that exact process, going, touring campuses virtually. So I got to put together that program for Berkeley and welcome a lot of prospective students and families, and kind of get them, the information they needed when looking at, potential colleges. And then I also played club soccer. So I'm really involved in sports, and I wanted to kind of continue that in college. So I joined the club soccer team and loved doing that. It helped me stay active. And then I'm also part of Designo, which is a collective that, a design collective that me and my friends started. We met in our classes and kind of went from there and found something that we loved and did it together. And then I also studied abroad in the Czech Republic. And I know study abroad is something that you probably are thinking about going into college, and it's a really great experience. So that's something that I got involved in. And as for the UCs that I applied to 5 different UCs: UC Berkeley, UCLA, UC Davis, UC Santa Cruz, and UC Irvine. And I got into all of those UCs, and I also did apply to some colleges on the Common App as well. So I have good experience with those. And then on to my high school involvement. So I went to Bentley, which is a high school in Lafayette. And when in high school, I was involved highly with student government. So I was the Spirit and Rally Committee president, which was really fun for me, getting everybody fired up and, competing for their classes and everything like that. And then I was also highly involved in varsity sports. So I played volleyball, basketball, and soccer. And that was actually what I ended up writing my essay for Berkeley about, was, how involved in sports I was and how important that was to my development as a woman and as, a young person in society, basically. And then I also was involved in the musical at my high school, and performing arts in general. So that was kind of a deviation from sports. And then I was the yearbook editor and a campus ambassador as well for my high school. So I kind of continued, from high school to college, that legacy of definitely welcoming new students, because that was something that was so important for me in the process. So I wanted to also give that back to students. And then outside of school, my focus in academics was definitely on medicine, because I wanted to be a doctor when I grew up before I came to college. So I was involved in the National Leadership Conference, where I actually flew to Boston and got to watch surgeries and talk to a lot of medical professionals, which was amazing for me. And then in terms of internship work, I got to do a bunch of different things in high school that kind of, broadened my horizon and introduced me to different subjects. Like I worked at a hand-painted yarn studio as an intern in high school. And then I spent time just as a summer lifeguard and camp counselor. So really interacting with people and trying a bunch of different things. And I'm currently working as a freelance graphic and web designer. So for different nonprofits or different professionals, I'll design their website or design kind of graphics for them to promote themselves. So that's a little bit about me. Let's pass it on to Nina and she'll introduce herself.
Hello everyone, my name is Nina and I'm from Hercules, California, which is around the Northern California area. So I'm pretty local to Berkeley, just like Sarah. I went to school somewhere close by. So if you're interested in hearing about that experience, you can also talk to me. I'm actually in college still, so I haven't graduated yet, unfortunately. I am a current second year. I came into Berkeley as a chemical biology major, but I'm currently studying economics and nutritional sciences toxicology with a minor in chemistry. So if you're interested in learning about how to switch colleges, or if you're not sure about what you want to study, you can go ahead and also ask me. On campus, I'm involved in quite a few organizations. Like Rachel and Sarah, I'm a campus ambassador. I'm also an appointed board officer for Circle K, which is a volunteer organization. I'm also a Vietnamese interpreter for Volunteer Health Interpreters Organization. And I also served as a 2019 to 20 university health worker. So I was a health worker for one of the residential areas on campus. So in terms of UCs I applied to, I actually applied to 8 out of 9. I applied to Berkeley, Davis, Irvine, Los Angeles, San Diego, Santa Barbara, Santa Cruz, and Riverside. I got into all of them. I applied to a lot just because I was really indecisive about where I was going to college. And I also applied to a few schools through the Common Application. So if you have any questions about that, you can also ask me. So moving on to my high school activities. So in high school, I would say I was fairly involved with quite a few different activities. I was the student faculty liaison. So basically I served as a bridge between faculty and the students at my high school. I basically organized functions and meetings for everyone to get their opinions in and just talk about improvements for our school. I also served as a secretary and then later on president of the UNICEF club on my campus. I played varsity badminton for all 4 years. I was also a part of MESA, which stood for Mathematics, Science, Engineering Achievements. I participated in robotics competitions and got together with other people to kind of just talk about math. And then in addition to that, I also spent 4 years in orchestra. I played the violin. Outside of school, I was in Key Club. So Key Club is commonly known as a high school club activity, but personally, I was involved in Key Club outside of my school. I was a part of the International Council, and we basically overlooked 200,000 students who were a part of Key Club. It was a lot of fun. In addition to that, I also served as the student commissioner for my Hercules City Council Community and Library Services. It was a lot of fun to just get together with other people and learn a little bit more about the government. In addition to that, I'm currently working as a content manager for a local restaurant in my city, and I'm searching for virtual internships and research opportunities. So moving on, I'll give you a quick overview of our services. So one service we offer is our college application essay review. So we help you review your essays that you write. So if you purchase that service from us, we will go over either your common application essay, a supplemental essay, or one of your UC personal insight questions. Basically, what comes with that service is we'll read over your essay once and provide you with comments on what we feel would improve your essay or things that you could do to change your essay and modify it and just make it more genuine or more in-depth about yourself. So basically, when we review your essays, it'll be holistic and detailed. We'll think about who you are as a person and what your personality is, and if your essay accurately describes you as a person and doesn't leave any questions unanswered. And in terms of detail, we'll check over how you do grammatically in terms of vocab and phrasing to portray who you are. Moving on, another service we offer is the college and career coaching calls. So during one of these calls, you can ask us for questions on advice about our high school experiences, college experiences, and our college application journey and tips. So if you have any questions about how to make your college application better, or if you want to hear about our own personal experiences, and if you want to see how you can kind of improve your application, you can talk to us about that. And we can work together during calls to brainstorm essay ideas or big picture essay discussions. So if you want to get to talk to us to kind of help you, I guess, plan out your application, you can also do that. Yeah, now we'll be moving it on to Sarah to hear about what we bring to the table.
Yeah, awesome. So, what we bring to the table. So, in terms of the services that we offer, I would say that the three of us are really well versed in a lot of, writing and a lot of consulting services that we're offering you. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think the main reason is that all of us have really recently gone through the process. So, like we mentioned, Rachel and I just graduated, and Nina's even still in college. So that means that it's really fresh in our mind, excuse me. And, we've really recently written these essays. We've really recently, gone over and over them and kind of know what the colleges want, given that we were admitted and we've been ambassadors. And so we've worked with admissions counselors or admissions representatives. And that goes on to the second point to say that as ambassadors, we really, got to meet a lot of prospective students and got to kind of talk to students about what particularly Berkeley was looking for, but not only Berkeley, a lot of different colleges in terms of passionate students or the kinds of subjects that people were interested in. And so we definitely are well versed when it comes to, what they're looking for and what, you want to bring forward in your application to really make yourself stand out. And so I mentioned we are college graduates, and we also give, two of us are college graduates, but we all give really great career advice because we've had internships or we've had full-time jobs. And so career advice, I would say, is really translatable also to college advice and things like that. And so not only have we been through the college process and even gone through college and what kind of, students should be prepared for that experience, but it's also definitely about, learning how to describe yourself to either an employer or either, a college representative or things like that. And so that I think definitely goes both ways. And then we also have great experience. We took AP Literature and Language, so we have great writing skills in that regard. But expanding on that, we've gone into college and we've written college essays, college theses, and things like that. So we really have a lot of experience, writing a lot of different kinds of essays, whether it's for an academic purpose or it's talking about ourselves and applications. We have a lot of different experiences and a lot of different knowledge about how to represent ourselves, and we want to make you the most able to do so. And also I wanted to add, we definitely specialize in the UC applications just because we've gone through that process. But a lot of us also applied to schools that use the Common App. So we're really well versed in what it takes to, put information into that system and apply to a bunch of different kinds of schools. So if you are looking at places that are not just the UCs, we definitely can help you out there as well. And then aside from, our consulting services and our essay writing, our essay editing services, we also write a blog that we're all really passionate about. And it's really been fun to kind of put a lot of this information out there. And so our blog topics really range a lot of different topics. And I actually wrote one just today. So we really write them, every, I would say 3 or 2 per week. And so you'll definitely get a lot of content coming out, but it could be anything from, breaking down the personal insight questions, what are they really asking? What do you want to write about? How do you write your essay? How do you become, really compelling in what you're writing? But sometimes it's even really tangible things about financial aid or things that, not necessarily everyone has experience with or knows how to deal with. So you can check out our blog as well. And since we post these weekly, we would definitely love to hear your feedback. If you're reading these and you love the content or you want something else to be talked about, we're definitely responsive to that. So you can use this, this tiny URL at the bottom to actually suggest some topics. If you have questions about the process, what do you want to know, what's confusing, we will write about it and we want to help you out, and you can see it in a future post. So yeah, our blog is a really great resource and I would highly recommend checking it out. And it's accessible on our website, which we have, and we'll have in a moment. And then another thing that we do offer is our newsletter. So we send these out pretty frequently. It's whenever we have, new content to share. And that could be, new services, new deals, new discounts that we're having. It could be when we have new blogs, that I just mentioned, and also different college news. So, right now in the college application process, a lot of things are changing, whether it be SAT, ACT score requirements, differences in what the UCs are asking for, differences in what the Common App is asking for. It's rapidly changing, especially because of COVID and everything recently. So you can definitely keep up to date by subscribing to our newsletter. And then in terms of our social accounts, our email, our Instagram, Facebook, please connect with us. We are so excited to talk with you. If you have questions, if you want to sign up for our services or talk with us before signing up for our services, you can email us at contact@shcollegeconsulting.com. You can find us on Instagram at the same handle, and Facebook as well. So we'll post a lot of our updates there as well, and then we can message you if you have questions or anything like that. So definitely connect with us.
Awesome. So we will open it up to you all. If you have any questions for myself or Sarah or Nina, you can use the chat function either privately or in the main chat function. And if we don't get to your question tonight, you can email us at the email at contact@shcollegeconsulting.com. So it looks like Bill has a question for us, and Bill is asking for me, what is my experience being an out-of-state student? What is that college application process like? And so that's a really great question. I know for me, coming from Maryland, going to California was something that I was really nervous about. So I applied to a lot of schools I applied to one school in state and then a lot of schools out of state. So I was really looking to leave my home state of Maryland. And so I think going on college visits, I actually only visited maybe 1/3 of the schools that I ended up applying to, which I ended up applying to 11 colleges in total. So overall, I did not attend and see the schools that I was applying to. So that's something that I do have experience with, looking at the websites of schools to see the feel rather than actually visiting the campus. And so coming from Maryland, going to a college out of state, I was really nervous about not making friends or not fitting in. But definitely for me, someone I would say I'm introverted, but also I can be extroverted if I try. That was something that I was really nervous about. And the homesickness aspect, that was something I was also nervous about. So with the college application process, I would definitely say that my biggest tips or advice would be to look and do your research for colleges online, especially now when we can't really visit the colleges. Then you can still get a feel for what the college is like. Even for me applying out of state, then I was able to apply to a bunch of different schools, even if I've never stepped foot on that campus. So thanks for your question, Bill. It looks like Brenda has a question for Nina, and Brenda is a junior in high school, and they say, when should I start thinking about my college application and writing essays?
In terms of your application, I don't think it's ever too early or too late to start thinking about your application. You have to have schools you want to attend in mind. So I would look up schools that you're interested in and look up majors that you're interested in and see what programs are offered at the various institutions. I would try to make a list of reach schools, schools that you think you can get into right now, and safety schools, just so you have an idea of where you want to go and where you can get in. In terms of start writing essays, you should start writing essays as soon as possible. So for me personally, I started writing essays, I think around the summer before senior year. So right when I finished junior year, I sat down and started thinking of different topics I could write about, and I looked up the different essay prompts for the past UC application and for common applications. And I also looked at the prompts from private schools. So it's a good idea to look at them early and just get a head start. You definitely don't want to start 2 weeks or a week before they do, just because you won't be putting in the best effort you have. Yeah, so just start as soon as you can.
Yeah, definitely. Junior year is not too early to start. I definitely started looking at colleges and stuff in the spring of my junior year. So right where you're going to be starting soon, Brenda. So it looks like we have a question for Sarah from John. They are asking, what's the biggest factor for when choosing which colleges to apply to? I guess since Sarah, you applied to a lot of different colleges.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So I did apply to a lot of colleges, definitely more than I should have or needed to. But the reason I did that is, as a lot of high school students are, I was worried about not getting in where I wanted to or things like that. But aside from that, I think the biggest thing that I was looking for when applying to colleges was to have a bigger environment than what I was used to, and to have a kind of excitement about the university that I was applying to, for the opportunities it had. And the reason I wanted that was because, you know, I went to really small schools my entire life, which was great. And I learned to, you know, really appreciate a community and find really close-knit friends. But for me, what was really important was starting to branch out when I went to college and starting to explore opportunities that I didn't have access to in a smaller environment. And so for me, once I kind of set my sights on, you know, a bigger university, you know, more than just a couple thousand students, I really started to be able to focus on, okay, you know, what kind of gut feeling I want to have when I go onto campus, or what kind of programs I want to look for. And the really nice thing about going to a bigger university was that I didn't have to know exactly what I wanted to do. And for me, you know, I had an idea of what I wanted to study. It was medicine. But I wanted to be excited by the amount of opportunities that there were and being able to explore and change my mind a bunch of different times. And so that was definitely the biggest thing for me, you know, kind of being simultaneously excited and scared, but also like, you know, really happy about the choice I was making. So a lot of it was that gut feeling, but it was fueled by, you know, finding a way bigger environment than I was used to. And that kind of led me to Berkeley and to apply to, you know, a good number of the UC schools.
Great, thank you, Sarah. And so it looks like Helen has a question about being an international student. Are the processes different? And so the three of us, none of us are international students, but all of us are from the United States applying to United States colleges. So we don't necessarily have that experience of applying internationally, but I would definitely say from speaking with international students, our peers and everything like that, that the process is pretty similar to like applying to schools in your home country. I would definitely say applying internationally, you should start early because there are a few different like deadlines or tests that you might have to take. If you need to get a student visa, that takes a little bit and you have to go to like your country's embassy to go get those paperwork signed. I know for some of my friends who are from Asia, they didn't have like a GPA that transferred from their high school in Asia to the United States, so they had to go and take some standardized tests to prove that their high school education is equivalent to the United States high school education. So some things like that might be different for you depending on what country you are trying to leave from to go to school in the United States. And definitely I would say with the essays and everything like that, that whole process is very similar. All of our advice for applying to schools domestically, when writing your essays, sharing the student voice, sharing your voice within the essay would all be the same, whether you are applying domestically or internationally. So just for the other things like taking standardized tests or getting your visa, those things might change a little bit, but all of our tips for the normal essays would apply if you're applying internationally as well. Awesome. So I guess John has another question. We are almost at the end of our time, but for Sarah or Nina, what is it applying or going to school close to home? Are there any advantages or disadvantages if one of you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can start and then Nina can definitely add. So I, like I said, I went to UC Berkeley and I lived in Lafayette. So it was from the East Bay in California to, you know, further west in the Bay. And it's about a 30-minute drive. So I was very close to home. And for me, it was something that a lot of people talked to me about during the, you know, application process. And for me, the biggest factor as to, you know, why it wasn't a huge deal is because I felt really excited about the university. And for me, the location came second. And it was something that I was excited about the programs. I was excited about the community that was there. And I also had a family that was really supportive in the sense that I knew they wouldn't be there all the time, you know, checking up on me every single second of the day. They kind of gave me some space to, you know, figure out what I wanted to do and kind of live my life a little bit, which is something that most people are excited about when coming to college. So I think that, you know, both of those aspects of having a family that made it a lot easier to kind of, you know, go out on my own for the first time definitely helped. But when applying to colleges, you know, it was mainly because my priorities lied elsewhere. So that was the reason why it was a little bit easier for me to go close to home.
Yeah, similar to Sarah, I would say I didn't necessarily apply to Berkeley because it was close to home. I applied because of the programs it offered and because of the opportunities or I found would be there available for me. Um, when coming to decide on Berkeley, I actually did not think about location. I personally didn't have a preference in going to a school located nearby me or far away. I just wanted to go to school somewhere. So, yeah, I love being able to go home often though when I'm at school. So during the past semester when things were in person, I would go home pretty often, maybe once a month, just to go see my family. It was a really nice thing to do because I personally really like seeing my sisters and everyone at home. So having the opportunity to do that is really comforting. I know that for some people who might live far away from home. So, like for example, Rachel being an out-of-state student, she wouldn't have been able to do that as often. So it's something I really appreciate. My I was close to home, but not too close to home to the point where I felt like I was always, I guess, living with my family still. I live about maybe 20 minutes north from Berkeley, so still quite a drive. It wouldn't be an inconvenience to go home, but it also isn't necessarily something my parents would go out of the way to go hound me down and knock on my door every night. So it was a nice chance for me to become independent, but not too independent to the point where I'm always homesick. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nina and Sarah, for that answer. And so we will move on to our last slide. Thank you all so much for attending. And since you did stay till the end, if you wanted to get 10% off your next Study Hall College Consulting purchase, definitely fill out this form. The link is on the screen right now, and you can get 10% off your next purchase. But we thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with us on this Thursday evening. Hopefully this helped you all to get to know us a little bit better. Definitely for myself, Sarah, and Nina, we are really, really looking forward to reading your essays. And the filing period for the UC application is closing in about a week. So if you're applying to any of the UCs, definitely make sure that you complete your essays soon and send them to us soon if you want to get those read. And for the common application, early action and early decision has already passed. But if you are applying regular decision for colleges, definitely send your essays our way as well, because we would love to read them. So thank you all so much for attending. You all are so nice in the chat, and definitely make sure you fill out this form. We will keep it on the screen a little bit longer, but you all are free to leave if you wanted to leave.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.